So just from administration, the committee of the whole provide administration with direction to regarding the key questions below. I have a question. Didn't we already have a downtown revitalization plan somewhere that's sitting on shelves or master plan or whatever?
That is a very, very, very old one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I see that we're doing a lot of plans and spending a lot of money on different things, but I don't see us use them. So I'm just wondering, does that need to be updated? What'd you say?
Sorry, the only plan that I know was that Patterson Park, the Parks plan.
The
That's
one
plan that I know.
there's one before that. It's a manila colored plan, and it has some rocks and stuff around
Oh,
the
yeah, I have it
streams.
upgraded in the office.
You know, yeah.
That was going back to like her
90s.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a real plan, I would say.
Okay.
It's
No
a
current plan.
contextually relevant at this point, probably.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to get clarification on that first. So the key questions here, there's 3 from administration. So does council still want to proceed with the downtown revitalization plan and proceed with an RFP to consult the development plan?
I would like to get some reporting on the project we're working on right now, because there could be a lot of principles that would apply to what we're trying to do downtown.
Which projects
The
specifically?
102 subs, the highway.
But would you think that's different from the parks?
Well, there's going to be some principles that are going to apply to how that development affects the downtown area, and I'd like to see that.
I think that they're different, but go ahead. Councilor Bashar.
In the grand scheme of planning, our official community plan and zoning bylaw is mostly the official community plan is the overarching document for all planning action in the community. So that will cover blanket across the whole municipality. A downtown master plan, a corridor plan, a parks plan are all sub-plans that are beholden to the policies already in our official community plan. So there is no disjointedness happening there, and any plan that is developed in conjunction with other plans. So any consultant that we hire, the RFP would need to include clauses that there are already these other plans and they should not conflict. And any good consultant would ask what other plans do they have or in adoption process or development process, and they would consult.
So we don't, because we don't have a community plan, or the community plan has been.
The official community plan is about 7 years old now, and it's over. Yeah, it's for a review, and it's a living document. It's meant to be a living document. That is something when it comes to like what council wants to see for development in the municipality that we should be looking at. This can be definitely a part of this that we can farm out to a consultant to develop these more specific and smaller focused plans with more detail, which will have costing of projects and those kinds of things in them. But we need to be responsible as a council, and this is why I advocate every chance I get that we should be reviewing our official community plan. If we want to do all these projects, we have to make sure that our overarching policies are what we want, that they properly guide the development of these plans. So these plans being developed are amazing because they provide, for example, the Parks Plan, Connor, with an absolute specific framework of here's this, go develop your budget based on this. We don't have to tell him anything because we've already had it laid out in writing, and he has a 10-year vision of what parks development looks like. With the downtown, this will tell our public works department, our parks department, our administration what they need to budget for, and the overarching policies of we want this type of development, we want infill, we want facade improvement, we want beautification, so on and so forth. Those are bigger overarching policies that get translated into these specific plans.
Okay, thank you. So 2 things here. So does council want to refresh the community plan? And then the second question is then are we wanting the downtown revitalization plan as well? So 2 questions.
So to answer the second question, I think we agreed a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, that we did want a downtown revitalization plan.
Okay,
to
so
proceed.
let's
yes.
rehash that really quick. Is it at this? I wanted to go around the table real
So
quick.
yes.
Vote.
Heck yes.
Yes. Yes to both?
Yes.
Okay, yes to which one?
Both.
Okay, Councillor Blossom.
Both.
Councillor
Also,
McPhail?
can I add something to that though?
Yeah, for sure. Let me just do the quick straw vote and yeah, for sure. Councillor McPhail?
In favor.
Both?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in favor of having a plan, however, I think we need to get the zoning
So
and all.
it just needs yes or no's and then we can talk about it further. No for both of them?
Well, that's why I'm trying to,
It's yes or no, because otherwise, because if the policy stuff is gonna be yes or no for the vote.
okay, yes.
Yes, okay. Councillor Reese?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, I'll come back to you so you can talk. Councillor Clausen.
Just before going into all the process of RFP and everything, would it be maybe a wise idea to have a community meeting, a town hall meeting, and get some input from some of the residents on what they would like to see, or even put out something as simple as a survey, sometimes get some good answers back for what people want to see in the community. That's happened before and has worked well. And then at least there's a little bit of guidance, and it alleviates one of the steps that plan would have to take.
Okay. So you're making notes, right, for? So just in those RFPs for, just community engagement and surveys and everything. Councillor, Risky.
Yeah, the concern that I have is like, we've got to sort out some of the zoning issues and parking and those kinds of issues. Like, it's nice to come up with a plan, but we gotta get our own ducks in a row first in terms of
But
what.
that's kind of where the community is it exactly, community development plan?
I kind of see it two-phased, like I see us having to deal with the zoning part of it. And then planning is how do you entice development and organize development and.
When it comes to zoning and parking and those kind of minutiae issues, the parking thing, that's part of the downtown revitalization plan, or would be. And that is guided by policies that we already have existing in our official community plan. Now, I'm just curious, and it doesn't require a response from everybody, but when's the last time you opened up our official community plan and read the policies that are supposed to guide us in every decision we make about land use? Who has read the plan recently, or refreshed, or looked at what our official community plan says about downtown, right? Do we know what's guiding us? And that's kind of our responsibility, because we are responsible to be able to implement that plan and provide direction for administration. And I thought Mr. Bender over there was saying that.
Is that a digital document? That
Yeah,
can be
it's
sent
on
to
it's the bylaw.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great, I just wasn't sure if it was on the website. So, okay, so that's
Oh
a
yeah,
great.
friendly challenge to everybody.
We've looked at
So
this.
question number 2 from administration here, does council want to have a committee leading this process, or is sufficient to have a committee consultation process as part of the plan
Yes, I think council needs to help lead, because honestly, I want to see this happen sooner than later. I have been waiting 20 years for this. Like honestly, I have been.
Okay, so I want to go around the table if that says yes.
Yeah.
So committee,
No,
no?
Yes to a couple councillors, but I'd like to see some community members on there as well.
Okay.
I don't want to see it as just the council, I want
I
some
agree.
community involvement.
I agree with Matt as well, committee has to be created.
Okay.
I think the stakeholder committee, which includes council members, is a really good option. And if you just, as an example, the NACSA, is that how you say it? Plan example that we have in here for the downtown revitalization plan, that actually has a description at the end of the different people that were involved. There was stakeholders, there was business owners, there was councillors, there was administrative staff,
Okay.
which is a really good model potentially to use.
Great, so I think that the straw vote around the table is that a mixture of council and community. Great, last question from administration here, does council want to allocate any of the $50,000 to conduct beautification prior to developing a plan? If yes, we will likely need to replace those funds for the use of the consultant. Okay.
Our budget line item for the downtown revitalization plan, that was a one-time $50,000 line item, correct? And that was in the 2021 or 2 budget?
22, it's in this year's
22
budget.
budget.
Yeah, it's available.
Okay, and if we don't use it this year, it's just carried over?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be carried over, but we could put it in the budget again next year.
If we don't spend it.
Yeah.
Cause I know that there's low hanging fruit that doesn't cost a ton, that I would say we could not tread on, the potential of any plans that come to fruition in bigger projects. But, helping sponsor some hanging flower baskets and little street fixtures that are maybe movable, like working with our Parks Department or something, to get a couple little things out there that are quick wins, visible, and do show the community that we are making steps towards this, because plans are a multi-year process, regardless.
So we'll go around the table. I need yes, no, or what you want to see that $50,000. If it's a yes, what that $50,000 gets split into.
I don't mind taking 5 or 10 of that just to pick some low hanging fruit and getting some quick wins
Okay.
out there.
Councillor,
I
Better.
like that idea. Maybe some flowers.
Okay, up to a maximum of 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Clausen.
Yes.
Okay, Councillor McPhail.
I think, seeing as it's already mid-July and by the time that we prepare everything for downtown flower baskets and whatnot, I think I'd like to see the money put directly towards the initial stages of the plan.
Okay, Councillor Hardisky.
Yeah, I think it's good. Wait a year to do some of that stuff. I'd like to rather see that money put into somebody's hiring a person to do the plan.
Okay, Councillor Reese.
I'd like some quick wins, and I'm all for flowers, but like Jordan, I think it is getting late to actually get some. If we can actually get some, that would be great. But I'm almost thinking like banners, those banners you hang from streetlights, like "Welcome to Orange," "Gateway of the North," or "Capital of Northern Saskatchewan." And it doesn't have to be like on every pole, but maybe every few poles, so that when people actually come into our downtown, it's like, "Hey, welcome to Orange," right? Because we do have a lot of confusion within the province and within Canada of the tri-community. Everybody calls all our tri-community, it's La Ronge, but I think it's also important to say that we are La Ronge, we're part of a tri-community area, but we are actually the town of La Ronge.
So you're a yes.
Yeah.
To a maximum of 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little caveat, flower baskets are just a potential example, but it could be things like replacing or increasing the number of public garbage cans that we have, or having the Arts Council, which is an old idea, the Arts Council clad our garbage bins, our public garbage bins in art, or little things like that. Could be any number of things that are applicable winter, fall, summer, doesn't matter.
Okay, so majority of council is in favor of yes and up to a maximum of 10, so we'll just add that into it. Okay, great. We're moving on to 5.3, which is the summer recreation programming. Did I miss it?
Those two examples, there was a downtown revitalization plan and there was the Main Street incentive program. Is that something for further conversation when we get a consultant?
Yeah, those were just examples provided as for the 3 questions that administration wanted clarification on. So who's bringing the 5.3?
That was me. I was just looking for an update in terms of summer program for youth, specifically youth over the age of 12, as Kikanak ends at age 12. Do we have any plans? Can we buy some basketballs, have somebody show up once or twice a week at a basketball court and do 2 hours of supervised basketball, tennis, I don't know, footballs, or even if we bought equipment that people could sign out and borrow? Does that possibility exist?
I'll just give a quick update on the programming that we have done so far this summer, because we have been involved in a number. So we did approve a number of grants to community groups that saw programs and events across the tribe communities. I don't need to go through the list of programs because most of them are completed at this point, but I also want to mention that we did just finish the month of June where we really focused on the Participation Initiative to get everybody active. Across the tribe communities, we had 333 hours of free programming throughout the month of June, so that's over 3 hours on average per day. We ended up first in Saskatchewan for the initiative and 29th in Canada for a total of 28 out of 30 days in June that had over 20 programs that were offered. I'm not going to list them all out, but it aged from kindergarten programs to more advanced physical programs like CrossFit at the JRMCC, for example. We have applied for a grant, or rather our runners in the competition, for up to $100,000 to increase our programming budget in the future, whether it's for playgrounds or for direct delivery programs or whatever. We can make that decision when we know the results of that. But it is definitely something we're celebrating, that across Saskatchewan we did offer more activities than most any other municipality. Upcoming for programs that we're looking at July and August, we will be offering swimming lessons this year. Waiting to hear from the Life Saving Society, hoping by the end of the week so we can start advertising, but that would range from baby and me classes with parents and their children up to, we're hoping, an advanced leadership program to start to foster that 12 to 15-year-old age group to just learn some basic leadership and life-saving skills. We are also going to have a couple events. One is coming up next Tuesday from 11 till 6. We will have MAD. This is not a recreation program, but it's important to know the Mothers Against Drunk Driving RV will be visiting La Ronge and at Patterson Park from 11 till 6. That's their Smart Wheels program that will have virtual goggles and just an opportunity to learn about alcohol and impaired driving, which, as we heard from the RCMP earlier, that should be one of our focuses. So we're happy to bring them up here to La Ronge. We will be utilizing our skate park as well to have some skate park programming with some skate professionals from the south coming up. As for weekly programs, to answer your question, Councillor Rose, we don't have a plan for weekly programming because connecting with Kikanak and the JRMCC, they really are hitting programming for youth up into 12 years old or so. So I haven't made any efforts to offer weekly recreation programming for people in the town from the town of La Ronge, but if that's something that you want to see more of, then that's definitely something we could do.
Okay, thank you. Ryan?
There has been, community members asking about programming for some of their teenagers. I'm talking, like Viviana says, the 13 and up, right? Maybe a place for them to go during the day to go rollerblading, stuff like that. Maybe utilizing even our rink that we have sitting empty during the summer. I know you have a lot on your plate, so if there's something council can do to help you achieve something like that, you just let us know, right? And then we can discuss it.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion? With all the different programs and events happening, and there really is a lot happening especially between our three communities, I wonder if it would be a wise idea to have a community calendar that would encompass all of the areas that could be electronically added to by each municipality or each different group, so that everybody in town can look at it and see, hey, this is happening today, this is happening today, or even when somebody else is planning an event, to know that, okay, this is on here, so that everything's all kind of laid out. I don't know how that would look and who would organize that.
I agree. I think that's kind of the key question there, who organizes that. There have been a number of individuals and groups that have tried to. I know that the updated Woodlands and Waterways Tourism Centre attempted to have a calendar and to list out all of the upcoming events, but it's very time consuming to keep on top of that, but also you need the buy-in of everyone across the community to participate. Otherwise it is searching and finding what's out there to just populate a calendar, and then you need the community to be aware and participate in actually going to find that calendar. It's something that we need, I agree.
You definitely need the buy-in, but if something is created that works super well, I think we will get that buy-in.
We have discussed some functionalities of Monday.com for community members or groups to submit forms that feeds into a calendar, and on our approval would be public facing. we're not there yet because we're still just on the cusp of launching that, but that is something that we hope to see.
I think the important thing too is to actually have these things in the community. Like I do believe in the tri-community stuff, but you know, a lot of parents, they can't take their kids over to Air Ronge or the JR, so to have that here, so our kids in the community here can walk downtown or to the Uniplex, wherever it may be, and just have the ability to have some organized program and fun, I think is key. You know, I'm fortunate enough that I get off at the right times, that I can take Patty to Kickenack and to Literacy's Day at the pre-camp, because there is lots of stuff going on for the younger ones. It's the older ones that we're not really focused in on right now.
Mr. Bennett?
I was just gonna add, we're discussing our new website. I remember Cloud mentioned there's a community calendar on it.
Yes.
I'm looking at our town website, there's a submit an event button. I believe that it adds to our community calendar on our website. So it's kind of
We will have
discussing
utilized
it.
that.
And that might just be link it constantly on our Facebook page and that kind of stuff, and just an advertising push. But again, that's resources that
It would be helpful. I like if we were using that consistently and had our community groups buying into that and submitting it for themselves, it would be an awesome resource for everyone to turn to, whether it's us from an operational side of things or for just anyone, tourists, community members, whatever. I mean, I agree that we need.
Yeah, I have a budget question, so probably Trevor and you, Connor, as well. So, in the budget, is there room to use those existing dollars to, I guess, reinvent the community program or position? Because honestly, like that's the gap, right? We just need somebody to be doing that and just that, right?
And the interesting thing about that is that it's gone back and forth.
No, I
There
know,
was-
but when we had it, it was
there
great.
It was previously council that got rid of it or had it and then got rid of it?
been
Or-
like 6.
It's been back and forth, so, and how, do you know why I got rid of it? No, just as a,
At this point in the year, like going through it, I don't want to really start adding positions and removing positions just with the budget completed and whatnot. With that being said, like I know that we were looking for another position, so I know that there is a little bit of money there for budgeting, but you know, depending if we even get someone for that position. or
Like
not.
somebody's part-time gig, evening part-time gig, right?
Yeah.
And under, you know, Connor's supervision or whomever's,
and it
right?
takes weeks. It takes weeks and weeks and weeks to prep and do. And,
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it's a next year item because unfortunately, like, it doesn't just happen overnight. You have to talk with all the different community groups, and you have to like, otherwise it's
Kind of start planning during the winter type thing for the
pretty much
spring
like.
and summer and fall.
Go ahead, Councillor Sharp.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if this is something that council feels we should do tonight, we should maybe direct administration to come up with a proposal for a programmer position and what that kind of looks like with some guidance, so that we can, in the winter, in January, say yay or nay as to move ahead with it, because anecdotally, things that I've heard when the decision has been to create the position, cut the position, create the position, cut the position. Oh, it's just a mom and tots group that they're doing. It's glorified babysitter, and oh, they're not. What are we paying them? Like really silly comments one way or the other when we've never given the department, or there's been, I think, a lack of support in letting the department come up with a successful program and to be prepared to succeed, not just on a whim. We need a programmer, which I think has kind of been our downfall as councils in the past have just, we all know we want something
Or simply just lack of direction.
and lack of direction, that too. And that's the thing is, I think if there is an on paper proposal and the time to prepare something pragmatic and thoughtful, to hopefully achieve the goals that council is looking for, I think that's totally fair that we can provide that kind of direction and then go into it less reactionary.
So is there an appetite at this table for a programmer?
For sure. Are you putting that motion on the table?
No, and I think this is
Okay.
maybe just a direction to administration kind of thing.
Yeah, just
more
by
than-
straddle though, I just would be curious. 'Cause
I would support seeing something
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Glasser?
I'd like to see a plan for it first, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
potentially.
Councillor McHale, do you have an appetite for a programmer position?
I'm gonna abstain on that right now, just for the reason is that we've kind of gone through a cycle of hire layoff, and I think that we need to have a really solid plan before we look at actually hiring the programmer.
Okay.
And I mean like a 5 to 10 year plan, because I don't think it's fair to people to join our organization and then us have second thoughts and send them on their way every 9 months to a year on this cycle. So before I can support that, I need to see a solid plan of what that program will be doing.
Thank you. Councillor Dispy, in favor of getting a programmer?
I'm in favor of doing it, but I think it's not the right time. I think we need to allow the departments to analyze where the gaps are and how we can address those gaps. And I think maybe then we look at next year's budget in terms of providing the position, but I don't think we do anything this year.
Okay, Councillor Reese?
Yes.
Okay.
To clarify, my support is for recreation and administration coming up with some sort of proposal.
Yeah.
What that looks like, what it costs, what that delivers.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly also what Councillor Clausen was
Yeah.
saying to Councillor Dispy,
Yeah.
so we can put that to administration. Okay, we'll rise and report out of committee of the whole, please. Some motion, please.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do you want any motions for those, or were you able to?
I don't think the motions are.
Okay, great. Moving on to 6, which is bylaws. 6.1, which is bylaw 667/22 for a third reading.
I'll move to read bylaw 667/22 for a third time and to adopt.
Okay, seconder.
Second.
We'll open up the floor to any conversation, questions. Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7, which is business reports. 7.1, which is the financial reports, budgetary control report, cash on hand report, accounts for approval, check reconciliation, firefighter check reconciliation.
I'll make a motion to receive and file all financial reports.
Seconder.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.2, which is a fire smart proposal request for decision that was submitted by Fire Chief Cloud.
Yeah, so again, we're just submitting a proposal for field management, so AKA Fire Smart thinning throughout the community. This year is a substantial project, 23.3 hectares within the town boundaries. It's the same projects that have been going on for quite a number of years. We're in year 4 of 9. If you just look to page 2 of the report, you can see all the areas that we will be thinning. Some note is that we haven't advised any of the residents on that Orange Avenue, mostly because their property line goes deep into the bush and then up against the SAS Power cut line. So we really haven't communicated with them on that, and last year we didn't have any issues with the completed green areas, as you can see. Considerations, so when they're going to be doing the burns throughout the winter, they'll take note of the wind direction to make sure that the hospital isn't affected by their clean air intakes. There are also going to be thinning projects outside of the community, more towards Big Rocks, but that's in a different report. Lastly, I just wanted to make council aware that we are looking at creating a field break to the west of the community, right where the Mallard Fire field break was, and we're just going to, I'm just working with the SBSA to get those costs down and see if we can budget it for next year to get it cut again and actually get it widened, just so we're kind of ahead of the game should anything happen in that area, but that'll be a next year's
that quite a few is fresh again, eh?
Yeah, it's starting to grow in. They have to get up there and assess it, helicopters first, but I will take note, like, so we did walk all these areas in the red to do a ground assessment, and they are very, very thick forested areas. So another thing to note is that this is not clear cutting. A lot of people get confused with this, and they think that this is clear cutting of the forest. It's just thinning of the forest. So they're getting rid of all ladder fuels and smaller vegetation in there.
Councilor Whitaker?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 field management plan and authorize the fire chief to execute any necessary documents on behalf of the town of Orange to implement this plan.
I'll second that.
Councilor Sharp?
Has there excuse me, any discussion with Bora about their future plans for trails and any potential like mutual benefit that can be realized with this?
There's been no discussion on our end, well, SRC and SPSA, but maybe Connor.
From the Bora Trail side of things, we're very grateful that they maintain our trail system. We are still working with RC Strategies to get that Parks, Open Space and Trails Master Plan finalized, in which we could, the fire department and myself could collaborate to make sure that whatever that plan is feeding into for our actions ties together.
Cool. Yeah, just mutual benefit. Like if there's a trail to be cleared that would facilitate either removal of some of the viable firewood for community members and elders and things, or just seeing the maximum benefit out of something that does visually upset some people.
That's something that we've also noticed with the firewood that they're leaving behind. That is actually a concern for SRC and ourselves, obviously, because it's dead fuel there. But maybe we can communicate that out to the communities. Because you know, by the airport, there's a lot of bucked up wood that is just kind of sitting there. So maybe we can do posting out there to get rid of that. But
Sled train of pulling the wood out.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion's carried. We go to 7.3, which is write-off items and a request for decision for the accounts receivable write-offs. And the recommendation here is that council proceed with option A to approve those receivable accounts or write-off.
I will move with that we accept option A to approve listed receivable accounts for write-off.
Seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions? Okay, we'll move the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.4, which is the building and development permit report, as presented here. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll move to receive and file the building and development.
Okay, seconder?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Bender? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.5, which is a discretionary use request for decision for Renee Markwart's R&T home-based business, and it's recommended that we proceed with option A.
I'll move to approve the discretionary use application for home-based business.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.6, which is the long-term care facility and the requested decision for the long care facility. And the recommendation here is that council proceed with option A. Does anybody?
I'll move that council approve the plan of proposed subdivision of part of parcel Y plan ADPA 17918 and parcel 12 plan AQ 777 and service consolidation with all of parcel AI plan 94 PA 05382 and map sheet 73 PO3 dated March 25th 2022, subject to confirmation from the town engineers that the service agreement is not required. And further that the parcel classification for parcel BB plan 101816399 be changed to municipal reserve to satisfy the municipal reserve requirement for the long-term care addition.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And then the motion 2 there as well.
I'll move that council give first reading to bylaw 668/22.
Seconder?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.7, which is municipal grants community group for the 2022 intake. It looks like there is only 3 that have requested funds. So at this time,
I'll move to approve all 3 requests for municipal grants.
okay, seconder.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
And all 3 were just the 5,000?
All 3 are eligible, they've all requested 5,000, and it's well within the budget.
Cool.
Great. Any other questions for Connor?
Yeah, I have go ahead, maybe you're answering my question.
Just something to note as well is that for the Men of the North application, they have
Yeah.
requested that the Public Works and Parks and Rec departments help assist the initiative of the 50-yard challenge this year, which does help tie into the programming discussion that we had earlier, that we would be supporting that program in a more creative way than just the funds. They would be looking for our on-site support and mentorship as well.
So what does that mean? What does that look like?
So likely they would be giving us a list of yards to cut and what is to be done at those yards, as well as what youth are available at those times. And they're asking for support from Public Works and Parks and Rec to assist with upkeeping those yards as they outlined in their plan for the program, because I think that they're struggling right now to meet their goals, and so looking for our support, not just funds, but looking for our expertise in that subject.
So for how long?
Well, their program goes until I believe it's the beginning of the second week of August, so it would be another 3 weeks or so, and we would be approving that we support them with $5,000 of in-kind support, which would be a combination of staff hours and staff time on equipment to help them.
I'm opposed to that application for
So this is because they're not getting enough volunteer or youth to fulfill their obligations that they've done for the 50-yard challenge?
They're struggling with volunteers. They have youth to do it, but discussions with Chris Morasti was that they're struggling to have enough volunteers to meet their goal.
Got it.
And so they would be looking for us. And so rather than just us doing it, we would be supporting them and billing them for the hours of support, and they would be spending the funds back to the departments that support them.
Got it. So it's not like we're just going to someone's house and we're cutting their grass and there's no youth on site.
It's part of the program, yeah. We're not just gonna get a list and go for it. It would be tying in with the schedule that they have, which would mean that their schedule would likely change a little bit, because we would only be available during regular work hours. But exactly as that looks like in terms of the current schedule, I'm not sure.
So another key component, just for point of interest, is again, volunteers are dime a dozen in this community. Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion's carried. We're on 7.8, which is a food truck request for a decision for Ella's Kitchen food truck. And it's recommended that council approve option A, that council approves the temporary use of development permit for a food vendor named Ella's Kitchen for the period ending September 20th, 2022, and conditional continued compliance with section 4.9 4.34 bylaw 572/16.
I'll make that motion.
Seconder? I'll second. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Move on to 7.9, which is, and I'm gonna try to keep it together here for this.
Where's my onion?
So it's with mixed emotions today that I announce my resignation as mayor and the chair. Professionally, I'm very happy to be here. But personally, it's the time for me to explore the next chapter. I'm the only person who can make that decision, and know that it was a very difficult one for me to make. Thank you to council, staff, and the residents of the town of Orange. I'm so grateful for what we've achieved over the last 2 years and in the 3.5 years that I've lived in this community. Looking at the diverse faces and voices at this table, I'm proud that you all took the leadership to run and represent our great community. I've learned so much from all of you, and that includes late Councillor Watt, and I will take all these experiences with me as I navigate my future. Sorry, give me a second, guys. I fell in love with L'Orange, I truly did, and I'm so happy to see the progress in our strategic plan. our work towards truth and reconciliation and for equality and human rights. I know that if this council continues to focus on policy and governance, while also investing their time and energy in the community, I know you'll be unstoppable at making La Ronge the place that you all set out to make it. I'd like to thank our community partners, leaders, and council members. It's evident that we're stronger together, and I hope that that continues. I'm just going to do this because I just saw it at the last minute and added in. So for that, I'm pounding the gavel for one last time, and I wish all the council the best for your remaining term. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor.
So with that, I'm going to pass the chair because that's my official resignation. A letter will be supplied directly to the CAO. And I know that I kind of rushed through that, but I do that when I'm emotional. And just know that I'm very grateful for the past year and a half. It's been amazing. I do have a little gift for all of you guys, and then I will gracefully bow out. And they're just fun little books that have been really great. I'm sure some of you guys already have these. And Councillor McPhail, I'll leave yours in your box. So, thank you everybody, and I pass the chair to Councillor Reese.
Alrighty.
And so there's just you added that last one on there, right? Before when you come into camera?
Gonna shake your hand, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, actually. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor. Thanks, I really appreciate that. Thanks. Thank you. Really pleasure. Thanks. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you and welcome back. Thanks. I will be in town until August 6th if anybody needs anything.
Sure.
And then I'm gone.
You take care.
Alright, bye guys.
Bye, Colin.
Oh, Councilor, let me do that too.
I'm scared. What's in here? Just kidding. Oh, okay. So moving on to
We'll just need a motion to accept that
okay.
resignation.
Motion to accept the resignation as presented.
Move.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion is carried.
And a second motion to remove Colin from signing authority.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion is carried. Thank you. So we'll also need a motion for new signing authority as well, to that effect?
To have some then.
Yeah. Because if we've removed him from signing authority, nobody has signing authority right now, right? Jordan?
You do, right?
You do.
I don't yet though, it
I
hasn't
still
been,
do until.
it hasn't been
it's
transferred
signed
over yet.
We were just waiting for the minutes to be
Yeah.
signed from this
Oh,
meeting.
okay,
Yeah,
so we have, we're okay?
So, well, we'll take that to the bank right away
Yeah.
after this meeting, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But we should have a second one full
Yes.
in case she's not around.
There's no,
Yeah.
there's no delay in that, and it'll happen tomorrow, and then she's officially on, so.
Okay. Perfect.
Seeing that Councillor Gordiski already has signing authority.
I was
we could-
gonna say, should we just motion to leave his authority on?
Okay,
I'll make that motion to leave Councillor Herdisky's signing authority intact.
okay, can we have a seconder for that?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say nay. No. Jordan, did you have your hand up?
I did. I have another motion that I'd like to make a motion to have from the council draft letter of appreciation to Mayor Tushniak and a motion of appreciation for his service on our council in this term.
Yeah, I would like to add a friendly amendment to that motion that we offer a small gift as representative of La Ronge as a token of our appreciation for his service as well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Or actually need a seconder, sorry.
You
Second.
can't make a motion here, the
Oh,
chair,
shoot.
but I will make the motion on your behalf.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Okay. So moving to 8.2, Matt, you had,
7:10.
sorry, 7:10?
We can talk about that another time, so, I'll make a motion to go into camera.
Okay, a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, perfect.